know that less than 10% of rapes are actually reported.
Okay, where's that?
To the cops.
Where's that?
It's from all of the women's organizations. You can look it up online. You can find it through the socialized organizations that study rape. I participate with an organization that works as a rape crisis center. We base that on the number of calls. The police know, based on the unofficial reports, the third-party reporting, and the direct reports. This is not a secret that about 10% of rapes are reported.
So how do you know 10% of rapes are reported if the others aren't?
Because those people call the women's centers, they ask for help, they seek medical attention.
So they are reported.
I do agree that there is stigma that I have to deal with because I am fat, but I'm actually really in celebration of my body. I find beauty in diversity. I think we come in all shapes and sizes. And the assumption that we've dealt with a lot on this show is that just because you're obese, you must overeat, you must have an eating disorder. I know that not to be the case. I know you can have a healthy relationship.
Now, Mimi, you say this is misleading. Go have at it a little bit.
Well, I certainly think that we all want to feel good about ourselves. That's understandable. I don't think people should feel demeaned by their size. And I also couldn't agree more with the message of daily exercise. No matter what size you are, you'll certainly benefit from daily exercise. You can't be healthy without that. But then let's talk about where we disagree. Look, if you want to feel good about yourself, it's impossible to feel good about yourself when you're doing something that's self-destructive. Also, self-destructive behaviors that result in damage or debilitation or even disfigurement to the body, that's never going to be perceived as beautiful.
The thing is that I think that the Hayes approach, the health at every size approach, has been documented to work. And it's been documented to work year after year.
What do you mean work? What do you mean work? Because a health at every size is a lie. If you starve yourself into damage, that's unhealthy. Or if you eat yourself into damage, that's not healthy.
You're making a lot of assumptions.
That's just not. That's not true.
You're making a lot of assumptions.
That's like saying that.
Weight
let's
being
say you were a smoker. Let's say you're a smoker and have black lungs, and you try to say that's healthy because you don't have cancer yet. We know that it is actually factual that obesity is dangerous, and it's connected to cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's. We even know it's connected to an increase in birth defects. So there's nothing left to debate.
Mimi?
It's not beautiful. It's not healthy.
Well, you know, $15 an hour, first of all, as we said, it's not enough of a wage, but it is a substantial improvement, and this is what workers have put forward. Fast food workers themselves courageously took their lives into their own hands, walked out of their jobs in a one-day strike in New York City, and demanded $15 an hour. And that is the first step, because the economy is not going to remain static. We have to fight for affordable housing. We have to fight for better services in terms of mass transit, education, healthcare, and that is why we have to also talk about taxing the super wealthy and big corporations.
Well, I mean, of course, one government policy leads to the next. If you raise the minimum wage, then it's going to raise the rents. When it raises the rents, you're going to have to build affordable housing. When you have to build affordable housing, you have to tax people to build the affordable housing. When you tax people to build the affordable housing, people move out of the city, and you have to raise taxes on the people who remain in the city, and this is how you hollow out the economy of a major metropolitan area in the United States.
Only...
There's a very thick line between being politically incorrect and being racist. And words matter. So when a community of people that has been perpetually marginalized at institutions across America over history feels offended, we should acknowledge that. And I think that these protests are a reflection of a community of minorities that feel unacknowledged and not respected. And so, Ben, I read your article today, and I was shocked by the language you used. You were saying that it's time for the right to fight. Yeah. No, but you read his column. Evidence. All this is screaming and feelings. How about like a shred of evidence, even for the incidents that actually happened in Missouri that drove this? Really? Where was the police report exactly when it came to, for example, the first N-word incident that led all of this? There was no police report on any of that. In the second incident, at the N-word at the University of Missouri, the administration investigated, and the kid's under investigation. In the third incident with the cop car, with the car hitting the
Let me just ask you this, because we're short on time. You tell me, Namiki, whether we are training these kids to be little cupcakes who never have to encounter anything offensive assuming everything you said is offensive. They never have to encounter it because they can call the cops or they can get their administrators fired, or whether it's better to educate them that there are offensive things in life. There are insulting things in life. There are people who will say very incorrect or impolite things about you, politically incorrect things about you, very publicly and in a way that you might feel very offended by. And you have to deal with that in life.
I think people understand that, but I think that, this is a blame the victim situation. We should be ridding the world of bigotry. We should be talking about that rather than blaming it on the victim who feels hurt, disrespected on campus, who doesn't feel heard by their administrators.
I love that utopia. It doesn't exist. It's not realistic. It does not exist. Good luck getting rid of all the bigotry.
The victim.
Well, we can
all the
work
bigotry. We're just going to wipe the world. We'd love to,
progress.
but it's not reality.
They literally just fired a white guy for being a white guy, and he's the victim.
Okay, I got to go.
Not true.
Great debate. Thank you both for.
And they're
Can you explain
jerks.
to me why in Chicago during Father's Day weekend 13 people were killed, 53 were injured by guns when they have some of the strongest gun laws in America? Can you explain that to me?
They don't have strong gun laws in America because any idiot can buy a gun.
In Chicago.
Any idiot can buy a gun from a gun show or on the internet, and there
Yes,
are
and
no
they can buy it
background
illegally
checks.
as well when they're banned.
But back here
Not
in,
if.
back
Not
here
if,
in the
not
UK.
if you have background checks, and not if you
No,
have.
I'm saying they can buy it
strict-
illegally.
No,
They can buy it illegally.
This
There's no
is
background checks when
precisely
buying
this
things
is
illegally.
precisely why you and the Libertarian Party in Canada and the Libertarian Party in America have no credibility. You are completely disregarded as a
These are
political
personal
force.
attacks, sir. These are personal attacks, not arguments.
There's a group of women that were here and they're wishing to withdraw consent to use the footage that you had, I guess, gotten. So can you please make sure that is done and make sure that any of the stuff that they have.
We may or we may not use the footage. It is a public area, so we do have legal rights to use the footage.
But you interviewed them specifically, right? So
yes, and they gave us consent to interview them.
Well, now they're withdrawing it, so
that's not how it works, but
which is interesting given the event that you're at, right? That's a little bit contradictory.
I mean, it's a little bit contradictory.
Well, if you're
I totally say it. That's not how it works.
well,
You can't just withdraw consent the next,
well, that's interesting.
Why is that interesting?
It's just I don't know.
No. Tell me
We're at a rally for rapists, consent and withdrawing consent, saying no means no. They're saying no, and you're saying that
Okay, so if someone gives consent the night before, and then they have listen, if they have sex with a man and they give consent to him, then the next day decide, oh, I regret it. I'm going to report him for being a rapist, even though I gave him consent. You're saying that's okay?
So you're sounding a little bit like a 12-year-old because it's.
Is it on? Okay. I want to get paid the same as a man, and I think you understand that. So, if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man, and do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job.
Yeah, I was going to say that I feel like it's incredibly patronizing for you to paint these questions this way, especially as a white man. I don't expect you to be able to understand what people of color are actually saying with regards to cancel Colbert. He has a history of making jokes.
Sorry, being a white man doesn't prevent me from being able to think and doesn't prevent me from being able to have reasoned perspectives on things. I didn't give up my right to be able to have an intellectual conversation when I was born.
I know, but well, white men definitely feel like they're entitled to talk over me. They definitely feel like they're entitled to kind of minimalize my experiences, and they definitely feel like they are somehow exempt and so logical compared to women who are painted as emotional, right?
No one's minimalizing your experiences. No one's minimalizing your right to have an opinion. It's just a stupid opinion. I mean, it's a misunderstanding of what satire is.
You just called my opinion
stupid.
You just called my opinion stupid. That's incredibly unproductive, and I don't think I'm going to enact the labor of having to explain to you why that's incredibly offensive and patronizing.
Explain.
I just told you I wouldn't enact that labor.
Okay, thanks for being with us, Sui.
You've restarted, let me just stop you so you don't waste a line of questioning. I'm just giving you...
I love the mansplaining. I'm enjoying it.
You're loving what?
The mansplaining that's going on.
What do you
Or just talking me through how by not answering the question, by repeating processes which are not related to the question that I've asked.
What's mansplaining, Senator?
Well, it's the slightly patronising and condescending way that you're responding to my questions.
Well, I would suggest, Senator, that if you're putting the word man in front of some description of what I'm doing, you're doing that which I'm sure you're very much against, is making a sexist implication about how I'm conducting my role as a man.
Well, then the easiest way to do it...
Is that what you're saying, Senator?
Well, what I'm saying is that the way you've been responding to me has been patronising and condescending, and I have responded to that. So the easiest way to deal with this is not to have that way in responding to the questions I've asked.
Imagine the reaction, Senator, if I said you were woman-splaining. You're saying that I'm mansplaining.
Well, it is a term that's used.
Is it by whom?
Well, it is a term that's used.
By rude,
doesn't make
by rude senators. By senators
no.
who are seeking to make gender an issue. Stop being a hypocrite.
Well,
Conduct yourself appropriately for this place.
I'm sorry you're so offended by the use of the word. It is a word that's used. I'm surprised that you're so shocked by the use of the word.
No, I'm just calling hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Thy name is Labor. Thy name is Senator Gallagher.